What it do? This is your brother Bishop of Bishop's Zone TV, and today we got to talk about The Woman King. The Woman King just dropped in theaters this weekend, and there's a lot of controversy behind The Woman King. You know, some people are for The Woman King, some people are against this film. Where do I stand in this whole debacle? Where am I? Am I completely against this film? Am I ready to boycott it like some of the people that I choose not dare or I dare not say? Y'all know who they are? Or am I supporting this film and saying, look, let's go support more black films, especially black films with a big budget? Because then that ushers in more films that are centered around black stories that deserve just as much of a budget as Woman King or even Black Panther. Where do I stand in this whole damn thing? And I'm going to tell you where I stand. It's a little complicated. It's a little complicated because I see the need to support a film as such. This film is starring Viola Davis. It's good to see black women portraying an empowering role, especially from a historical perspective. A lot of times when we see black women, and especially in historical films, you know, it's usually enslaved. We're talking enslaved women, you know, usually docile women, helpless women, you know, women in distress. And shit, that's just in general, you know what I'm saying? But especially when it's about, you know, historical pieces and whatnot. So it is refreshing to see a film that depicts women in such an empowering light, especially the sect of female warriors in the Dahomey Nation. Because whether this is a movie or not, in reality, they were kicking the shit out of motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? They were really about that business. That's a fact. That's a historical fact. The female military of the Dahomey Nation was they were those women. I'm telling you, they were bad, and it deserves a movie. I feel like they deserve a movie just because of how, you know, unique and how much of that was an anomaly, you know, played a part in shaping what you see today in that part of West Africa. However, I do have some issues with The Woman King because it is talking about a specific nation that depended heavily on the slave trade. And this movie kind of romanticizes the Dahomey Nation to an extent. Like, don't get it twisted, don't get it wrong. They do insist, or they just flat out say, look, yeah, we have partaken in slavery ourselves, but now it's time to turn this thing over and free our people. Let's give another resource to the Europeans instead of our own people and other groups of people of African descent. Let's trade palm oil. And the problem I have with this, like I do many other historical films, is that it's a misrepresentation of the truth. And the film, in a way, it tries to present these things as factual. We understand that, look, this is Hollywood. This is major motion picture movies. They have to take some type of liberties, especially when you're fleshing out a story. I get that. As someone who is a screenwriter myself, I understand that you have to take certain liberties, and you can't. I think you can, but it is harder to construct a 100% historically accurate film. You know, it's hard to do that, so you have to take some liberties with certain types of films. However, when you make, and I don't want to say that the Dahomey was necessarily bad guys, because history and life in itself is more complicated than that. But just for the sake of argument, when you make a particular group of people who committed heinous acts, very vile, disgusting acts of trafficking human beings, and then you romanticize it in the film, that is a problem. That is no different than romanticizing the Southern antebellum. That's no different than Pocahontas romanticizing white man's love affair, which it really wasn't love, but love with indigenous people. I don't, it's kind of disheartening in a way, because we as black people tend to have major issues, as we should, when it comes to Hollywood romanticizing slavery or making a good white folk. They got a good white person in these films about slavery or whatnot. You always have to have some type of white savior in these films. And we always, a lot of people criticize these particular films as being misrepresentatives of history, of not doing history justice. And in that tradition, we have to have the same smoke and same honesty with the Woman King. The Dahomey Nation were not victims of circumstances. They were not, as complicated as the slave trade was in different African nations' participation in trading enslaved people to the Europeans. We cannot gloss over that. We cannot just act as though that's an afterthought like they did in this film. We can't depict one group of African nations as being the villains, as they did in this film, the Oya tribe. I think I'm saying that right. We can't depict them as being bad, but then the Dahomey tribe, or the Dahomey Nation, being the good guys. That's disingenuous. That's not honest. Again, I'm not expecting any Hollywood film to be 100% historically accurate, but God damn. And you know what? To be honest, the only reason why the Dahomey Nation is presented in such a way in this film as the good guys or the good women, I don't want to disrespect, is simply because of the all-female resume that is the what the Europeans consider the Amazonian tribe. That's the only reason why this film is even made, because of that anomaly that is this all-female militia. That's why. That is the only reason why they're the good guys, because we've never seen that in film. And wouldn't it be cool if we did see this in film? And in order to make this film really pop, we have to stretch the truth a little bit. We have to give some liberties to this film in order for it to work. We have to be honest with this. I'm a history buff. I get it. I'm not expecting films, again, I gotta keep saying it, I'm not expecting films to be historically accurate. But goddamn, give me something. Give me something, Hollywood. And especially when it's black folks, because we complain. A lot of our people complain about historical depictions of us in these films and how they romanticize white people who are not necessarily good white folk. Yet here it is, we're doing the same thing with this film. It's the truth. I'm sorry, it's the truth. The Dahomey Nation is not necessarily a group of people to be, very celebratory of. That's just a fact. Especially considering that the people that they enslaved, the people that they trafficked to Europeans were our ancestors. Like that's the most ironic thing of it all, is like, what if you told a story about the Dahomey Nation and actually, depicted them in a more accurate manner? Because I think, is America ready for a more accurate depicted historical film? Are we ready for that? Are we mature enough for that culturally? Are we culturally mature for that? I don't know, but it's like, it's worth a shot, because if we keep lying to ourselves as adults when we depict these historical figures in these films, then how do we expect to have critical race theory in schools? How do we expect that to work? How do we really expect that to work when it's kids, but as adults, it's okay to stretch the truth a little bit. It's okay to lie a little bit. We should be able, when I'm like, look, man, I think you could tell a film about Abraham Lincoln. You could be honest about Abraham Lincoln and not try to make this guy look heroic. You can say, look, this guy's complicated, because human beings in general are complicated. and let the audience decide if this person is good or not. Let the audience decide if the bad things that they've done in their life overshadows some of the good, you know? But instead, Hollywood has to sell, they have to market these things as if this is the Avengers, as if this is some kind of moral compass. We're talking about Hollywood. And that's where the issue again lies. They marketed this film as though this was the all-female African Avengers. And it's not. It's not. Again, I'm not like telling people to boycott. Hey, go see the film. Go see the film. I hear Viola Davis. Hey, she's a terrific actress. I'm not mad at Viola Davis or any actors or actresses that participated in this film. You know what I mean? I'm not mad at them for doing that. But I gotta have smoke for it. If I had smoke for the Django, because I had some issues with a lot of black folks was, the Django. That's the kind of movie I want to see. If I had issues with the Django, I'm gonna have issues with The Woman King. I had issues with Braveheart. And unfortunately, a lot of people in the general American public go into these films actually thinking these movies are accurate. They actually believe that these films are historically significant enough where, if someone like me brings up, that wasn't true. Now, here you go. I don't want to hear that right now. I don't want to hear that. And they end up trying to live through these, these fictional characters, and sometimes, real life individuals who might not have been the best people, even from a historical lens. So that's all I got for that right now. Let me know what you think about The Woman King. Should people boycott it? Should people be, supportive of it, despite its historical inaccuracies? Let me know what y'all think. And until next time.